In this video, I will show you with two pictures how to identify a function using the vertical line test, and that will help us determine is the relationship a function, and that's really essentially what our vertical line test does. So the first thing I'm going to do with these set of points is graph these points on the grid here. So I'm going to start with the point -4, 2. Now don't forget x, your x-axis going left to right is first, and the y comes second, and that's going to go up and down. So I'm going to go left 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and up 2. So there's my first point. Left 3 and up 1. There's another point. 0, -2. -4, -1. And +1, +2. So those are my points put together on a graph. Now, the vertical line test asks if you were to draw a vertical line anywhere in your function, if it ever can pass through two x values, then it is not a function. And here's what I mean by that. If I were to draw a vertical line over here through this point, I notice that that vertical line would only hit one time, but I can find a vertical line that actually will pass through two separate points on my graph. Now, because this happens over here, because it happens two points, and it crosses two times, this would be called not a function because a vertical line can pass through this set of points more than once. So even though it's okay here, it doesn't pass the test because over here it is not a function because it will pass through that x value twice. I like to talk about functions as functioning relationships. Don't repeat an x, not like an x, ex. I mean, x is an x value. Okay, so here's another function. Now to graph this one, you might need to make a table and you might need to plug in some points to get an idea of what this looks like. But this is called a parabola because of that square right here. And so a parabola usually looks kind of like this. If it opens up, it's a positive x, but I notice ours is negative, so ours is going to be opening downward. But what I'm going to do is just make a table. I'm going to plug in a bunch of numbers to get what my points should look like. So I'm going to grab my calculator and I'm going to start graphing with some points. So I'm going to start plugging in like -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, and 3. And I'm going to plug it into that function. Now whenever you plug in a number, don't forget to use parentheses. That's super important. So I'm going to put my negative sign. Now in parentheses for my x, I'm going to substitute in the number -3, and then I'm going to square that value, and then I'm going to add 3, so +3. And I get -6. Now what I'm going to do is go back. So where I have my -3, I'm going to turn that into a -2. So I'm going to hit my 2 button, and if I plug that in, I get -1. Now I'm going to go back and change that to be a -1. So I'm going to graph -1, 2. Now I'm going to go back and hit the delete key on the negative and replace the 1 with a 0. And here I get 3. Now I'm going to go back and change that 0 to input the number 1. And I get 2. I'm going to go back and plug in the number 2. And I get -1. I'm also going to go back and plug in a +3. And I get -6. I actually noticed there's a pattern here that from the 3 it goes 2 and then -1 and then -6. I see there's some kind of pattern here. So let's see what happens when we graph it. So -3, -6, -2, -1, -1 up 2, 0 up 3, +1 up 2, +2 down 1, and +3 down 6. Oh, I see it now. Here is my parabola. I'm going to connect it with a smooth curvy line because I know what it should roughly look like. And now what I'm going to do is think about anywhere I could draw a vertical line. Would it pass through that function one time only? You know, maybe it would be easy to just kind of go through and see, does your vertical line, would it hit more than once? No, it wouldn't. So my vertical line test should pass, because if I draw a vertical line, it will only cross through one time. So I would say, yes, this is a function.